Where did the Ghana rap doctor come in?
I think Reggie Rockstone gave me the name. They didn't understand what he was saying, so they kept insisting, what's he saying? So I took the microphone and I tried to explain to them what Reggie was saying and making it rhyme and still making it make sense. And so one of the Jamaicans said, he sounds like a doctor teaching.
So it's not about the looks, right? But what the person brings.
Yes. Immediately you start making money. The society says you need to build a house, an ashanti. And so you quickly go and buy land.
Yes.
And then you take the money that you're supposed to invest in something.
Lock it up in the land.
Then you go and lock it up in the bush.
These are strong values. How do you pass this on to the next generation? Help them to also build even more powerful brands.
That's a beautiful.
People in the inner
The
circle.
people in the people that I'm talking to, the 5 people around me that I'm talking to consistently are all experts in their areas. And everybody brought a specific spark to turning this human brand into a business.
Hello and welcome to Impact Code Africa. Today is special actually. I have one of the biggest acts in Ghanaian music with me. We're not only going to talk about music, we'll also talk about the business behind music. So I'm very excited to have an August guest visitor with me today. He is a musician and also a businessman. So we'll talk a bit about music, but we'll talk more about the business behind music. So help me welcome today, Okyeame Kwame.
Nana, boss man.
So we've titled today's session From Talent to Institution. From Talent to Institution. The business of being Okyeame Kwame. So, Okyeame.
Nana.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, your journey has not just been a story of music or talent, but it has been a master class, because few people in the music industry, in the entertainment business are able to transition, are able to build a business around their, talent. But you've been able to do it, and now you have several businesses and you're making money out of it.
Yes, it's true.
So, but let's start to talk a bit more about your journey in the music, industry, your talent. Because I grew up listening to you a lot. I grew up in the 90s when, Hiplife was big or was becoming big in Ghana. So personally, I admire your act and, what you've done in the Ghanaian music industry. So let's start from there.
Okay. So how do I even see? I'm an Ashanti man, so if you give me the chance to start, I will brag. But I'll try my best to be modest. Okay, so my musical journey started when I was 5. I grew up with dyslexia, meaning I have difficulty in reading and dyscalculia and adding. So even around 11, 10, I couldn't say my ABCD. I used to say M-O-N-E-O-P for M-N-O-P. They're one of those kids. But amidst all that chaos and confusion and struggle, my mother had introduced me to Ghanaian poetry. So I'd recite very complex Akan poems and people will be amazed. So in the evenings, they used to take me from house to house at Ashtown to go and recite them. The classic example is me yabofra. Obo ade abo me afra mpanyimfo. Me yabofra nti me se me yode hye. And so ejabe hia to me. Ene de me sanka, me nanka, sa abrabo be din, abrabo be mro, me mfa nyaga.
Wow.
Fi se dua busi kwan a anoma mfa ho.
Wow.
De nsuo ye no wia be ye. Ensuo abo nkyene, abo adwe nkun.
If I had audience, I would have asked them to clap.
Exactly. Now, so there's a 5-year-old and just reciting these poems. And fast forward to 1990s, hip hop had become the gem. Everyone was catching the fever. And I'm in school struggling with accounting, commerce, physics, maths, but I found keen interest in Akan and in English because they both had poetry. So combining the poetry and the literature learned in high school plus the poems that I had been introduced to as a child, I realized that that's exactly what rap music is. So it's just all that poetry with rhythm. And so I just became a rapper and I started excelling. And whenever I opened my mouth to rap, this is 91, the girls now started looking at me. I started getting attention. I started winning competitions. So I knew that when I grew up, I was going to do something as an orator or in the area of oratory or poetry, but I didn't know it was rap.
Yeah.
And so I met Okyeame Kwame. He was also amazing at was writing stuff. We came together as a group in 1991. And then in 97, we found a producer and our first album came out a year after Reggie's Maka Maka album. And the rest is history.
So you're a pioneer in
Yes.
the Hiplife era.
Yes.
What are some of the big hits, around that time, including what you also came
to also around that? So Reggie's Cho Boy, Ago, Amen. So I think that we were probably the second Hiplife group to come out of Ghana. I don't know if we came out before Book Back, Comic Ekena, or we came out at the same time, or they came out before. I don't remember. But we were sort of after Reggie Rockstone. Reggie Rockstone came out with Nananum, Sydney, and then Akyeame came out. And that's the same time Exdo came out with Davi Madekukuma, Plekogo, Dekala, Fifi.
Yeah.
And then Komi Kekena. So that was the time where Akyeame came out with our first album. Sankofa, Ukofa, Yebeda Dabe, Yebedo, China Brebro Baima. All of those songs came out about at the same time.
Yeah.
And then a year later, we released Masanaba, which became like the poster boy sound for Hiplife music because it had fused high life music, indigenous high life music with hip hop drums and some nice Akan raps that people really liked.
There, maybe let's clarify a bit. What is Hiplife music?
Big question. So when Reggie Rockstone really named Hiplife music, what he was doing was hip hop beats with P-rap. However, when you listen to the Reggie album, they had skits that have Adwa guitars and some Africanized singing. Muntie yo Santiago, or the Asane Nyom Fofrabo, Makam. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So when you listen to those skits are what I call Hiplife. So it is those skits that Reggie did that we took and extended it and created songs out of it. Brebro Baima. You see, they have some Adwa. So according to pop music or pop culture in Ghana, Hiplife music is a song which is a fusion of high life and hip hop music. So the hip hop in this sense can be strong drums, played usually in the 4/4 time signature, mixed for the drums to have presence with a fusion of some amponsa or high life guitars and some Ghanaianized singing with a fusion of rap. So hip life music was a fusion of hip hop and high life. Yes.
Solid. It was so popular in the 90s. I mean,
and the 20s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now they're, it's metamorphosing into something else, but
Yes.
I mean, we'll get there.
Yes.
So let's continue with the journey. So you were on when Reggie came, you guys also came, and then how did it
so
unfold?
as Akyeame, we did 2 albums.
Okay.
And then we did 3 albums together. And our first album, second album, our third album, first album, second, very, very successful. Our third album failed. And I think that when we get to lessons learned, I'll tell you why. Or otherwise, if you want me to tell you, I can tell you now.
I think when we get there.
So our third album failed. And I went to America with Daddy Lumba, or is it Kobianchi? I don't remember. We went to America with one of those great legends for a tour, an American tour, and then we didn't come back. We stayed in America for another 3 years. And then so we had done 2 albums. And we did a third album. And when we came back to Ghana, then in 2004, I became a solo artist. And then I released Semeto Damino Akyeame with Dasibe Jamna on my first solo album called Bosheba. Then I've not looked back since. So I did series of albums, and at that time I was becoming brand conscious. So I was beginning to shift my career's direction from just continuously producing hits to aligning with philosophies and concepts that went beyond the music. So I remember that my first album was called Bosheba. It was about me. Then the second album was called Manrinsem. But I realized that brand equity belongs to the customer. It doesn't belong to the product.
That's right.
So I decided that I was going to make my music and my career more about the listener than about me. So the third solo album, I called it I called it The Versatile Show. So I wanted to call it Mr. Versatile. I actually did a song called Mr. but I called it The Versatile Show. The whole album was versatile. And that I curated the comms around it for the people listening to feel a part of it. And then I did another one, and I did a Made in Ghana album, which was more about Ghanaians than about me. So I started relooking at my art and gave the power that the art had more to the audience than an opportunity to just say I'm a good rapper.
That's right.
Yes.
Where did the Ghana rap doctor come in?
So I remember that in 2000, Reggie Rockstone had come to New York, and then we went to play a show in a Jamaican alternative club. So after Reggie had finished rapping, they didn't understand what he was saying, so they kept insisting, what's he saying? So I took the microphone and I tried to explain to them what Reggie was saying and making it rhyme and still making it make sense. And so one of the Jamaicans said, he sounds like a doctor teaching. And then, so it was sort of Reggie Rockstone that said, then he's the rap doctor. And I started calling myself the rap doctor. So I think Reggie Rockstone gave me the name.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Rap doctor.
Yes.
Solid. Okay, so let's now move a bit into the structures, the business, beyond the talent. So what are the things, that you looked out to implement, to do, to move yourself from just being a talent, one of the, good talents, producing hits, to now building a brand, building a business that could, last beyond generations?
I think the first thing that I did was I got a first degree. When I realized that, okay, this thing is not just talent on wheels, the first place that I decided to expand was my brain. So I went to tech and I did a first degree in Akyeame and sociology.
This is powerful. I think we need to repeat that. The first
place that I decided to improve on, if I could improve my life, was my brain.
My God.
Yes. And with that, I decided to go to school. So I had finished my high school. For 11 years, I was happy making music and playing shows. But I realized that the talent that I had garnered from my childhood to that point was beginning to finish. And so I needed to refill. And I needed to open my horizon. And so through a Jakonimo and a lecturer at KNUST called Dr. Peter Arthur, I went to tech. And at tech, in African Studies department, I studied guitar, I studied applied music, applied guitar, philosophy of African music, and I just for 2 years. And then I did Akyeame, and I did sociology, I did social linguistics. This opportunity, 4 years, analyze this, summarize that, evaluate that, make same, bring it on this time, do this, sit down, write a 300 this one word count, do this in your own words. For that 8 semesters, it had changed the way I had looked at reality.
Wow.
And the Akyeame that I did had changed my identity, had given me, because studying Akyeame is not just a language, it's a philosophy, it's a people, it's an identity, it's culture.
That's right.
So it had giving me the opportunity to look inside and look outside and to see clearly what I was as an Akan human being. And so by the time I was done, I seen that, okay, so to be able to do this thing, it is a combination of what I'm able to bring versus what others who are committed to this particular path are able to bring. Be it marriage or business, or we are looking for profit, whatever it is that we are looking for. If it's a group venture, then it is everybody coming out. So who are the elements that we are going to use to go to the next level of my career?
That's right.
Fortunately, at that time, I just met my wife, and she had graduated from tech. She had done an MBA, fresh. So it's like 18 years ago. She had done an MBA, and she did branding. She did brand architecture, and her thesis, she was looking at how to look for alternative financial routes for the West African musician. Wow. So her thesis became our blueprint to redesigning the Okyeame Kwame brand. And with that, we realized that we needed a media person, we needed a comms person, we needed a PR person, and we took all this in one person. And we had someone who would do the running arounds and doing all the media work. But Elankra was the one consulting.
Wow.
And then in that, we also needed a business and brands manager. And then we took Abraham Ohinijan, who had produced Obrafour and TikTok and done commercials, and he understood the corporate language and done business, So we took Abraham Ohinijan. And then we had a road manager who was Abuakese. I think he would be your mate at high school. Yeah, DJ Abuakese. And then he became my road manager. And then we had, as we were going, we took a social media, because we realized that social media was coming. And it was coming with a force. We had someone to represent social media. And then we started letting an accountant look at our books.
Oof. Let's pause there a bit.
Yes.
Because now it's too much.
Yes.
I want us to be able to put them in perspective. So number one, you expanded your brain.
Yes.
Number two, the people in your inner circle.
Yes.
You met your wife, other people. Number three, the professionals that you brought on board.
Yes.
All the people, accountants, whoever. And then number four, social media, new trends.
Yes.
So 4 things that, transitioned you from the creative, the talent, to business.
First, I decided to build a brand. And then out of the brand, we monetized the brand and it became a business. Now, the thing with me that I've never said anywhere is that I don't work with people who are not smarter than me. If you are not smarter than me, I don't need you. So I only work with people with more experience, better ideas, smarter ways of doing things. So even now, the songs that I'm making music with Dan Gral, was making music with Morris, was making music with Zap Mallet. All these musicians that I'm mentioning, Uncle Ebo Taylor of blessed memory. Today is his 1 week.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's why I'm in black.
Yeah.
Uncle Ebo Taylor. If you are not smarter than me in a way, I do not work with you.
Because you don't add anything.
Because you don't add, you have come to take and sap energy. So,
Rather, people are, afraid of people who are smarter than them.
Yes. But I think that I think that the violent pursuit of comfort is the number one killer of great dreams. So if you are trying to stay at one place forever, just feel comfortable. And if you find yourself in a room where you are the smartest consistently, leave the room. It means you guys are not going to do anything.
Easy.
Exactly. So I only work with people. To be honest, I married my wife because she was much smarter than I was. So she had done a first degree in law, and she could review contracts, write contracts, understand them. And she had done an MBA, and I was a high school graduate. I said, this is the one I want.
This is the one.
So all the smart people that I had along the way, even Marco Kumante was consulting for me. He was our first manager. When I became a solo artist, he was consulting for me. Dr. Kwame Chamfo, who was an engineer and a mathematician, was consistently consulting on the OK brand. So a free phantom, you know, a free phantom, and I say a free phantom of ex Vocacom. He was my business partner at the time.
Wow.
And he understands money at a level that I have no idea.
The people in the inner
The
circle.
people in the people that I'm talking to, the 5 people around me that I'm talking to consistently are all experts in their areas. And everybody brought a specific spark to turning this human brand into a business. Yes.
Wow. So, okay, that takes us into the next question, which is, what are some of the mistakes then do these acts make? You know,
a lot. So the first one I want to talk about is resilience. So, for example, at a point I set up One Mic Entertainment, and then I put a lot of money in an artist. I don't want to mention the name; it might bring his image down. I put a lot of money in an artist, and before we got 2 big hits, before we could monetize the hits, he said he's changed. He's now a religious person. He can no longer do secular music. And because of that, I stopped running One Mic Entertainment. And One Mic Entertainment could have been an empire by now. Look at what Don Jazzy did with Mavens.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the exact vision. But I let one person derail me from that whole thing. So, resilience of understanding that when you are doing business, it's not always that your plans are going to fall in plan.
That's right.
That is one. The second one is, I remember when I was much younger, a Masanaba hit, I took all my money, I went to buy a sports car. I went to buy a
That's what the big boys do, right?
A Ford Escort with bucket seats. It was a petrol gas.
Is it not part of the branding?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that a true brand is built from within. It's not the accompaniment. So for me, I think that the most important part of branding is product potency. I say this is Alata Semina. If you can use it for 3 months before it finishes, and therefore it is cost effective. And then it doesn't have any nice packaging, but its brand promise is that it lasts long, it is quality. And then another person has a similar product. It has the most beautiful packaging. It smells great, but when you take a shower with it, now you have rashes all over your body.
Yeah.
Which one will people choose?
The one that delivers the result.
So for me, branding is more about potency
of the
product than it is about the accompaniment or the condiments or the spices that's put around it to make it attractive. That one is short-lived. Product potency is long. So it is not about buying a car. It's not about renting the credibility of other brands. If you're a young man and you make money and you've quickly gone to buy a Mercedes-Benz at 22,
doesn't make sense.
You are renting the credibility of the Mercedes-Benz. The Mercedes-Benz must come and rent your credibility. Like MTN rented mine. Like Coca-Cola rented mine.
So build your own.
Build your own from within to the point that when a business is associating with you, that business can increase their price based on the equity, as Keller puts it. Yes.
Solid.
Yes.
Solid. Wow. Mistakes.
So, let's talk about a bit more of them. Another great mistake that young artists do is that when we start, we begin to make money, we quickly register a business, or we don't register a business at all. And when we register the business, we quickly go and do a limited liability company. And if you are not fortunate and you don't have the right people to help you put the accounting together, to pay your taxes on time, to meet the deadlines and things, then now it becomes a liability.
The tax man will kill you.
Exactly. It becomes a limitless liability. So I didn't know that I was supposed to have started small, with maybe sole proprietorship. And then once the business is growing, then I can grow it.
Transition.
Sometimes, because of brand image, I quickly going to register a business like group of companies.
Group. What is the group? Group suggests like multiple companies.
Exactly. And I've registered multiple companies, and most of them don't work, and 3 years later, the tax people are looking for me, and you are going to court unnecessarily. So I think those are some of the mistakes. I think that as a young creative, one of the key mistakes that we make is the person that you marry.
Okay, we're going to talk about how marriage impacts your.
I know, but
maybe we can even go there.
yes, but it's a mistake whether you are a woman or you are a man and you are a creative. Because for example, for me, the biggest problem in my marriage is that my wife is a workaholic and she's on the phone from morning till night, and she's sending emails, and sometimes at 10 o'clock she'll fall asleep and the phone is by her side, radiating problems.
Yeah.
And I'm on the bed with her. I keep my phone downstairs before I go up to sleep. But because I'm in the same bed with someone who wants to keep the phone by her head, we are all experiencing the same radiation. So the same way, if your partner is not interested in your success, she's the person or he is the person that's speaking into your head consistently. His involvement with you may affect your creativity positively or negatively or even neutral.
Yeah.
So some of the big mistakes that we do is that one of the people that we meet on the way, because we are driven by such passion that if we think that the person is aesthetically pleasing enough, we make the person our partner, and this person is with us, and 2 or 3 years later, from everything comes
So it's
down.
not about the looks, right? But what the person brings.
Yes, it's the value
that a person.
that they bring. But these are little mistakes that young people make. Another one that I made was that immediately you start making money, the society says you need to build a house, an Ashanti. And so you quickly go and buy land.
Yes.
And then you take the money that you are supposed to invest in something.
You lock it up in the land.
Then you go and lock it up in the bush.
Yes.
And for the next 5 years, the money is locked up in the bush. When that money could have gone into getting a small apartment, buying a small apartment, probably using it for an Airbnb, and enjoying of the residual income of that investment. No.
You've struck a key.
Exactly.
So put your money in your working capital.
Exactly.
Instead of going to lock it up.
We go and quickly lock it up in the bush, and for another 12, 15 years, you are building the house so that you may be seen in your community as responsible. So I think these are some of the mistakes.
Perception, some of the acts rather would take, perception rather than the substance of actually investing in your working capital and building the business.
And because the whole idea of being a celebrity, when you are a young person, in my case, it's made believe. So you want to be seen in the biggest car. You want to be seen in the biggest mansion. You want to be seen with the hottest chick. You want to be seen with the biggest hits. So you want to be associated consistently with winning. And that one comes at a cost. I remember my first house, I was building a story building. I didn't know that the flow for the flow to go to the next floor cost more than the foundation. And now, after I'd done the flow, there was no money to continue. There was no money to promote my music. There was no money to...
We are stuck.
We are stuck. When I could have easily done a 3-4 bedroom, nice 1-floor house, put nice sheet on it, protect it, go inside and use the rest to invest in something.
And build
from there. And when I'm going on to pension, or I've decided to now shift into real estate, then I can do it properly. So those are some of the little mistakes that creatives make.
Yeah, creatives make. Okay, let's move from there then into your values, right? The things that have, driven your brand. Because, we see that you are an authentic family, cultural person.
Yes.
How has that, influenced your business?
I think every way. I remember that the year I became Artist of the Year, and when I played Warsaw, I was performing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all the 54 weeks of the year. And this is happening for like 3 years consistently. And so I remember that I used to live in Kumasi. But one of the key reasons why people will book me in Accra is because I will come early. And immediately you have a performance. The performance is at 8. And I come for the sound check at 4. I bring my clothes. Everything is in the car. I don't even go and check into the hotel. I stay at the venue. The organizer is comfortable. The artist is here.
because he's here.
Then now they can use their creativity for other things. Now, if you are an artist and you come at start time, so the value and you come at start time, what you are doing is that you are causing panic for the organizer.
Yeah.
Next time that person will not book you again. So I think that one of the key values that has kept Okyeame Kwame relevant till date is time consciousness. That is one. The second one is also, we have a mantra at my office where we say we go beyond creative content. We value your values. Is that we value the values that are being built in the society. Things like humility, things like honesty, things like authenticity, things like not raising your shoulders. Because when people are working with you and you allow them to pass through you, you allow them to change you positively, you allow them to influence you, they also allow you to influence them.
That's right.
But if you say, because I'm the artist, everything that you are saying, because I'm the poster boy, everything that you are saying doesn't make sense because I'm the man, I don't apologize, I don't renegotiate, I don't change my stance.
You don't have all the wisdom, right?
Exactly. Once it happens like that, people deal with you once, twice, and then they stop.
Yeah.
And I think that another value that I don't joke with at all is to make sure that the product is potent. So what is the product? Is it boxer shorts? Is it real estate? Is it travel and tour? Is it events? Is it the music? I want to believe that my song Masanaba is 28 years old and it still moves people. When you are sad today and you go and listen to also, you'll be inspired.
Could recite the rap.
Exactly. When you listen to, like, the song Made in Ghana was recorded 6 years ago, and in every match the song trends again. So I think that how potent is the product, and how do I make sure that the music, which is usually driving every other thing that I'm doing, which is done well, is that I work with musicians who are more creative than I am. Then I can draw from the
It's called leverage.
I can lever, I can, lever their creativity and then create something. So, for example, the song Made in Ghana was produced by Dangral and Ebo Taylor. And if you know the quality, Ebo Taylor is the musician that built the foundation of Feles music, which has now become Afro music.
It's something else. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I get Ebo Taylor to produce my music, I'm 10 years gone. So I think that these are some of the things. And my personal value, this one, these are the underpinning philosophies of the values that I've discussed, is I identify myself as love. So I am love having a human experience. That is the way I identify myself. And you can see, so I try my best to let this cosmic existence of love that is flowing out of me flow through everything that I'm doing.
Powerful.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes.
Let's dwell a bit on the family side. Then these are strong values. How do you transition? How do you pass this on to the next generation, to your children? I mean, how do you help them to also build even more powerful brands?
That's a beautiful question. So currently, I am more interested in replicating myself in the youth. So if you are young and you come my way, I will indoctrinate you. So I am teaching at Legon. I teach a voicing class with Dr. Adakwe. We teach rap, stylistics, creative writing, and composition. For the second year, music and art students. And what I see is that my involvement with these young people, every day after the lecture, we go to lecture on Tuesdays. Every day after the lecture, I see that the young people are saying, wow, we didn't know this thing used to be done like that. And I'm saying, wow, I didn't know there was still this level of energy in me. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
right.
I'm learning from
That's
them.
right.
They're learning from me. In connection with my children, before we had our children, I had a conversation with my wife that I do not ever want my son especially to ever settle in a dispute with his brawl, with his blows. Because if you must bomb people, kill people, give people pain so they may get your point, it means you have failed.
That's right.
So how do I raise my children to also be full of love? Then I have to show them love. And so what I do is I don't beat my children. When they do things bad, we sit down and have a conversation. Because I also, at 50 years, I still do bad things. So
Who will beat
me? Who will beat me? So I use the concept of love to let my children see how atmospheres change, how there's serenity when conflict is minimized. That's another way there.
You're teaching us parenting even here.
Oh,
right?
Thank you. And then in terms of my children, I let them see how much I love and appreciate their mother. So last night, my son, I was doing a photo shoot and my nephew and my son came to pick me up. We got home around 11. I was hungry, trying to get juice. And when I opened the fridge, there was lettuce, oranges, bananas, there was food. Then I said, sir, do you realize that your mom is an amazing woman? Look, for all the 21 years that I've known her, there's never been a time that I've come home and there's no food. And the type of food that she puts in here is healthy and tasty.
Exactly what you need.
Exactly. So I am appreciating my wife at 11 midnight just because she put food in the fridge. And so my son is learning. Say, Daddy, I didn't know that mommy does all these things. So I said, yes, I have never contributed to how we eat in this house in terms of selecting food items, going to the market and things like that. But there's always food here. How do you think it happens? Because a responsible person is dedicated to the job.
So what you said actually reinforces what we said in the beginning, that marriage or who you marry actually, affects and influences your act, your
life.
Business, your life, everything you
It
do.
even influences the time you will die.
Yes. Can you expand a bit on that?
Because you are eating the same food with this person. You are sharing the same energy with this person. You are sharing the same room with this person. The number of times you fight, metabolic stress, all that affects your health. So if you are married to a troublesome, conflicted person, and consistently that person's intrapersonal conflict is creating an interpersonal conflict between both of you.
Guys,
you are dying.
We didn't just come for business. We are getting health lessons.
Exactly. So
everything.
It affects the number of years that you live on earth is, directly, significantly connected to the people that you are related with. And your partner is the most immediate person in your space. So it affects everything. It affects profit. It affects everything. There's a song that I did, Wara. When you watch the second verse of the video, that I'm talking about conflict in a relationship. But in the second verse of the video, I'm just tearing down my studio. You can add it to the. I'm just tearing that to say that if you are not happy at home, it's difficult for you to go and do work and make profit. So watch that too.
Wow. Solid. Okay, let's go then now more a bit into partnerships.
Okay.
Brands.
Yes.
Is that also important? Which are the brands that you like to partner with? Does that also affect what comes out of your business?
Yes, please. So let me give a classic example. My first big brand association was with Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola made me the face of the campaign for 1 year. And when I became Coca-Cola brand ambassador, it changed everything. Now, whenever we went to abroad, especially to do a performance, and they said that this is the face of Coca-Cola in Ghana, the people opened their hearts. Because, wow, Coca-Cola chose you to be the face.
Brand.
It's a big brand. And the thing is that I remember when I was working with Coca-Cola, Linda Labi was the marketing director, and her quality index was 1010. There's nothing that Linda Labi will put out unless the quality index is 1010. And so for that 1 year that I worked with her, She brought out something of me that I didn't have, that had been already existing for 100 years, that had been working for 100 years, and she just gave it to me without even knowing. You know, so brand associations like that. Let's talk about MTN.
Okay.
With all the 6 years that I worked with MTN, what did I learn? I remember that when I was working with MTN, their mantra was the can-do spirit. And when you are working with MTN under the leadership in the marketing department, under the leadership of George Anda, everything is can-do.
Results.
Everything, results. I work with GT Bank. They opened my eyes. So I became brand ambassador for GT Bank. They opened my eyes to how the financial institution works and how I can use my brand equity to convert young people, to influence young people to save money and become interested in investment. I had never looked at it like that. I work with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture as the National Cultural Ambassador. They gave me the opportunity to express myself. It's out of that we did the Made in Ghana album. And that now when people think of Akyeame, they do not only think of me in arts, they also think of me as a cultural icon.
That's right.
It's because Honorable Afeku had given me the opportunity to serve in that direction. Every single brand that I have worked with has brought something amazing to me. I remember that I did a song with Akyeame, which is also a brand, a Hiplife brand. And we did a song, and when they brought the song, the chorus said, Yen Sahara, Obema we no. Then I told them that if you are going to add the no to the chorus, I won't sing my verse. And then they said, why? I said, if you add no to it, you have made the song, you have sexualized the song. Right. But Obama we the idea means you make you a ruler.
A ruler.
A leader.
It can mean anything.
A royal. But Obama we the idea no. Idea bang. You know, and when they took out the no from the song and we did it, it became that big national song which still resonates with a lot of women today. So brand associations, they are a give and take affair. You get the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of the qualities of that brand and its positioning. And then you also get the opportunity to serve, to increase that brand's potential whilst enjoying the image that it had already existed, the leverage that already existed, which currently I'm working with, I'm working as the face of a new Gasem brand that we are about to launch. And the orientation that they are putting me through, they are giving me the opportunity to understand what the whole process is, the number of people that it employs, and its impact on national development. I know by the time I'm done at the end of the year, it would have changed me to become a much better person. So yes, brand associations are good, but how come some artists consistently get to be associated with these companies and others don't? It comes back to your values.
That's right.
So if you are an artist and you are seeking to work with these multinationals, what are the values of these multinationals? Do they want that one day when they sign you as the face of the product or the company, and then you go and smack your wife, you go and insult people in public, you are booked for an event and you don't show up? So it comes back to your values, your belief systems, and what you deem important. If you are doing well as an artist and you are seeking to do brand associations with multinationals and banks and things like that, it is important for you to uplift your values. And visibly show them in public so that these companies may be, when they mention that we want to use Okyeame Kwame as the face of Gasem, the board members are saying,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Because we are not afraid that you go and use a verbal taboo or his image might dent ours. You know.
Have you said no to a brand before? Maybe you may not mention the name of the brand.
I have. So there's this alcohol company that wanted to use me as a brand ambassador, and I remember at that time they were paying more than $100,000, and I said no, because this is the time when I had started working on hepatitis and I had become the face of hepatitis in Ghana. And one of the key ways that you can destroy your liver is through excessive drinking of alcohol. So if we are working to bring attention to the liver, and we are consistently talking about hepatitis B, and then I become the face of an alcoholic product, then I'm creating conflict. I'm creating dissonance, and which might lead to alienation, because when people might begin to look through what the things that I'm talking about is, this guy is not consistent.
Yeah.
He's not authentic. So yes, I've said no to a brand and at some other brands, but I won't mention, mention names.
Yeah.
Even there are brands that wanted to work with me in connection with climate change and sustainability that I said no, because I thought that they were doing greenwashing.
Greenwashing.
Yes.
Okay, let's come a bit also to this business mindset that we've been talking about. I mean, most creatives shy away from the business.
Yes.
They just want to, I'm an artist, I just want to create and leave the business. Why do they shy away from?
Big question. So about 4 years ago, I did a seminar at the Performing Arts School at Legon, and my whole topic was that it is important for the artist to know his audience. It is not 4 years. This is 2016, 10 years ago.
10 years, yeah.
It's going so fast. It is important for the artist to know his audience. And when I was done with my presentation, some of the professors wanted to shoot the presentation down because they think that an artist's responsibility is to go inward and create something to challenge the status quo, and create something to bring something different, and create something that is groundbreaking. But it is another person's role, the marketer's role, to take that art and push it to the audience
And sell in the business side
because
of
this is a conundrum between art and marketing. Because if the product if the whatever you are created knows its audience, then it is no longer art. It is now a product. So the challenge is that when is it art and when is it a product? So the people teaching people to become professional artists, some of them do not think that you need to teach the business of the art to the artist so that he may go into the world and create products instead of creating an art form. So this is one of the challenges. The second challenge is illiteracy. For many years, I was a financial illiterate. We've spoken about it earlier. I'll take the monies that I'm supposed to invest in my music and in my businesses to build a house. I will use it to buy a car, and I'm going to church to pray for profit. Because these are the things that the society tells us. Conversations like Unipa Ebre Emfa Sikama Unyakupon Shira and Emanipa Yodefo. Things like that. These are some of the cultural nuances that form the foundation of your literacy on money. And also the education system. It doesn't teach you, unless you go and do business. If you are an art student or you are a science student, you have started school from class 1 until you are graduating for high school, nobody's ever telling you about profit. And then you go to school and then you finish as a psychologist or a sociologist or a doctor or
and you
an
don't
artist.
understand business.
You don't understand business.
Yeah.
What do you know about money?
Yeah.
And even the people who are studying economics and government, and they do not, nobody is intentionally teaching profit.
True.
So I think that this is where the thing is. That is why, as Africans, we have not been able to find the value in our natural resources. That's why we send the products to abroad
Raw.
for value to be added and then we import it with dollars. So it is not just an artistic problem or the artist problem. It is a cultural issue that we need to check.
It's an African issue.
Exactly. It's an African issue of what our definition of money is. What is the definition of financial value? So when people immediately see people who have had money, the first thing they say is, "Wajis kedro."
And that's what
cocaine. Or a politician, or They are thinking that, like Karl Marx said, he is harnessing the surplus value of the hard work of his workers. And that is not always the truth. So we need to first realize the foundation of our financial illiteracy and then begin to work at it.
Yeah.
And then for artists, in my case, what happened was when I was younger and I was coming up, I thought that someone else would do the business for me. So let me just go to become a studio rat and just be in the studio and just be creating music.
So in that thought, then, should artists hire professionals?
I think artists should hire professionals, but the same way the professionals come to learn from the artist must also learn from the professionals once you are growing. Because at a point, let me give you a classic example. Fela Makafui. You can see that at every single point in this young lady's life, she has a product that she's selling. She's selling weave, she's selling her own gym wear, she's selling tea, she's selling this. At every single point, this child is selling, or this young woman is selling something. You can see that she's a businesswoman. I don't know how she got it, but there are so many other more popular people who are not willing to create their own products that they can bequeath to their grandchildren. Rather, they want established brands to hire them for 1 year and harness their business potential so that they give them because the other thing is also setting up a business is difficult.
That's right.
And so a lot of people do not want to do the heavy lifting of now renting a space, getting someone to a secretary, doing the finance, doing the banking, getting a lawyer. All that is just tough work. So let me give it to someone else who is good with numbers. Let me just go ahead and produce this. But creativity is like beauty. It never lasts forever. You know, so
creativity is like beauty.
Yes, it dies at a point. So whilst it is interesting, let me give you an example of a mistake I made when I made Warsaw. A gentleman from Mirror at that time, one of the editors, came to my house. He said, let us make a t-shirt that says Area Fine Boy. So let's make a t-shirt, put a monkey laughing, and then write Area Fine Boy. People will buy. I didn't get it. I was busy performing. Then 5 years later, when I was almost 40 years, I went back to him. I said, let's make the t-shirt. He said, you are too old. You are too old. Nobody will want to buy a t-shirt from a 40-year-old married man with children. You should have made it when you were young and vibrant, because then people your age would have. I want you to imagine the number of people who would have bought Warsaw t-shirt.
Lost opportunity.
It's a lost opportunity. I didn't see it. I was oblivious to the
We're just
business.
focused on the...
I was just focused on the shows. I was just focused on the art. But it's better late
than never. Definitely.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've talked a lot. I just want us to maybe conclude around this. It's controversial a bit, but yeah, religion.
Yes.
Religion and, artist, business. What does religion, do? Does it play any role? Positive, negative?
So what religion does is that it is given to you at birth. You see, train the child the way he should go, and you may not depart from it. It's given to you at birth. And because it is given to you at birth, it attaches itself to your identity, or it is the foundation upon which your identity is built. The artist's voice, his ability to critique the system, his ability to be honest, his ability to break through the maze, all depends on his identity, what he identifies as. So you are growing up with the identity that you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist, and because of that, you are only going to see what is good within the lenses that you look from as a Christian. And everything else that is bad, that the Christian says it is, because your agency, your moral agency, has been hijacked and given to Paul. So your concept of what is immoral, what is sinful, is what is written.
What Paul said.
What Paul said. So in that identity, it may limit your view, your world view on life, because you only look from the Christian or the Muslim or the Buddhist lens.
So that's a limitation.
It's a limitation. However, the positive values of that religion, which is pray for your enemy, turn the other cheek, love, forgive, those things you are going to get. You get it. But I honestly think that based on the trade-offs, if you are an artist and you are open-minded, you see wider. You are not afraid to express yourself, because immediately there's fear. There cannot be love. Wherever there's no love, there's no art. You know, and religion is built on fear
and guilt.
You know, so it sort of limits your worldview, and it doesn't allow you to see clearly all the things that you'll be able to talk about. It also affects your financial positioning. Because I remember when we were kids, they used to say, some pastors will come and say, Okyeame, you released this, so you know why your album didn't hit? You say, oh, well, that why this your single didn't work? Because another artist took it, went to give it to some Okonfo, and then he took your CDs, dug a hole, cut blood, and pour it on it. They done some incantations.
That's why it didn't work.
That's why they're limiting you from the real opportunity for analysis, for evaluation, for postmortem. So even when someone who is not ignorant, or someone who knows what you are talking about is telling you, your album didn't hit because of the branding, because of the positioning, because of the pricing, because of this, because you're supposed to do that, you don't listen to it because someone else told you. You've been blindfolded by the fact that ubiaye ujuju. You know, so I think that religion is a good thing, but I would wish that people will focus on spirituality. Because if you are an artist and you are focused on spirituality, it means thinking positive all the time and allowing yourself to be a kind person to yourself and to others, then you'll be able to express yourself much better. Yes.
Solid. Yes. I think, I mean, I have not even seen, the time has just
yes.
Solid conversations. I mean, to end, maybe I think we will ask, I mean, some advice for the younger ones.
Advice for artists. Yes. Is always don't listen to advice. Because there are two voices in your head. You have consistently two voices. You, as a human being on this earth, you know what is good for you. And you know you have all the answers to everything that will not let you get to where you are going. Listen to that still voice, especially the one that is not loud.
Listen to that still voice.
Yes, that is the voice of progress. That is the voice of God. That is the voice of love. And that is the voice that tries to shatter comfort and lead you to your next place.
Listen to your intuition.
Yes.
The law of intuition.
That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
We listen to it. Thank you
very much. So thank you very much for coming. All the best. We are most grateful for having you. We can't pay for this.
No. We can't charge for it. We are family. And let me also say that it is very rare for me to go to interviews and get such great answers. Some of the things I've said here today, I've never said them anywhere because you asked them. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.